What's up, MettleMilieu followers? Today I want to talk about chicks in metal. Now, off the top of my head I could probably think of about 50 bands, but I made a list to make it easier. So without further ado, we'll talk about power metal bands like Battle Beast, Burning Point, the original Battle Beast vocalist is now with Burning Point, Eden Bridge, the Austin Eden Bridge. From Florida, the mighty power metal band Seven Kingdoms, who sound like Gamma Ray and Freedom Call. From the US, Mind Maze, once again great power metal. Hellion Prime, now Sive to Dive Bomb, also great power metal. Lady Beast on Inferno Records, great traditional metal. Shadow Side, Temperance, good, Italian power metal, kind of like Amaranth, kind of like later Luna Coil, definitely like Within Temptation. Of course, we're not going to talk about Nightwish or Epica. I know the new Epica came out yesterday, I really don't care. Of course, early Darkmoor, can't go without the great Cat, one of the greatest guitarists of all times, underrated. Benedictum, Sound of Thunder. Savage Master from Kentucky, they suck, count them out, delete. Girl School, of course, from the UK, Rock Goddess. Mean Streak, of course, The Wives of the Men from Dream Theater, awesome album. Roadkill, Chastain and Leather. Next week I get to see the mighty Chastain fronted by Leather. Reunion, of course, you can't go out, the best pop metal band of all time, Vixen, followed by Poison Dollies, followed by Madame X, and the best female metal band of all time, Phantom Blue, God rest Michelle Meldrum. Of course, Detente and Fear of God, God rest Don Crosby. Of course, Sentinel Beasts, Debbie Gunn might want to call Jenny Craig. Hellion, thank God for Anne Boleyn, she started New Renaissance Records. We got Anvil Bitch, we got Blood Feast. We just got so many great bands. We got In Destroy, the Cerebus, the list goes on and on. At War. And of course, Holy Moses, Sabine Clausen, 4 decades now, thrash metal, Zed Yago, Ice Age, nobody can think about the Queen of Rock, Lita Ford herself, great Christian bands like Rosanna's Raiders, Scarlet Red, Ransom. And enough said about all that. The reason I brought all that up is because I want to talk about the one and only Lee Aaron from Canada. That's right. She is back after many, many years with a brand new album. Now, it's interesting because Lee Aaron has an album called The Metal Queen, and she liked to think of herself as the Metal Queen, although now, of course, she bows to the mighty Doro. We cannot deny. Doro is the Queen of Metal. There's no doubt about it. But, Metal Archives doesn't even have Lee Aaron as metal. I guess she's just hard rock. Now this new album is absolutely hard rock. It is not heavy metal, but it still kicks serious ass. Obviously she was metal in the 80s, and we talked about good Canadian metal. We talk about bands on Attic Records. We talk about the amazing Relapse remasters. I figured I'd just bring up, this is what the Razor looks like with the slipcase. Bonus tracks, just great stuff. You can't go wrong. First time legitimately on CD, Open Hostility. Once again, just countless of bonus tracks. You just can't beat it. Great booklets. But anyway, what I want to talk about is Lee Aaron, because once again, just like Anvil and Razor, she got, the dict on Attic Records. Between Attic and Cobra, run by the Dave DeFeo of Virgin Steel, I guess these bands couldn't catch a break that, Exciter were catching, and some of these other bands were getting recognized for combat records. Well, Lee Aaron, she took a chance. She did the heavy metal thing, kind of like Thor from Canada. She was the Metal Queen. She did a great job. It's kind of started getting a little kind of commercial, kind of like Doro did in the 90s. Not the industrial approach, but definitely more rock and commercial. And the Body Rock album kind of gets a little bit of the Olivia Newton-John vibe. And let's not forget classic rockers that rule, like Pat Benatar, and Blondie, and all that great stuff. And of course, Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac. And Starship, and just all that. Joan Jett, of course, go without saying. But she kind of started to get a little commercial. And then she kind of made a few errors in the adult film department. Not that she was a Tracy Lords or anything, but she did kind of go wee-wee. And, so then she kind of decided to do the Lita Ford thing, not because her husband, Jim Gillette, was a total douchebag, but because she had a great family. She decided to stick with her family and raise her family. So she took almost 20 years off. But she's back now with a brand new album called Fire and Gasoline, and it rocks. Now, when I spoke to Lee Aaron, she made it very clear to me that, she's not going for the metal approach. I'm like, oh, no, I heard the Cars, I heard Blondie, I heard Fleetwood Mac, I even heard The Who. She's like, oh, you got it. You got exactly what we're talking about. And, of course, you can't go without, once again, the aforementioned Joan Jett, and even the Runaways, and what the Runaways did, although the Runaways material is nowhere near as good as Joan Jett and Lita Ford solo. It's on, her own independent label. You can go to leeaaron.com. I'm sure she has all the social media things going for her. But, she talked to her fans, and they said they wanted a CD, and they wanted vinyl, and they wanted cassettes, so she gave them all. She gave them, just like Jim Brewer, she gives them a full booklet loaded with lyrics. Once again, a great collage of, the people with whom she's working with now, including her own family members. Great lyrics. You know, she just looks great. She's actually older than the mighty Doro, but she also looks fantastic. And if Doro's from Germany and, you know, the Queen of Metal there, then my hats off to Lee Aaron, Queen of Metal from Canada. Let's talk about the songs. Tomboy, written about her daughter, who kind of has not necessarily masculine tendencies, but is definitely what we would have called in the 80s a tomboy. Good movie, by the way. Fire and Gasoline sums it up. Real Sex Pistol vibe, real like in your face, just, you know, kind of punk but also thrash, like Ramones and, you know, the Dead Boys and all that kind of stuff. Bittersweet, very personal. 500 Miles, very personal. Heart Fix, one of the great rockers on the album, really sticks with you. You know, basically she told me that, you know, her stuff, once again we're talking about Anvil being on Attic, which became Hypnotic, and how they got roiled over. She actually is going to buy the rights back to her material on Hypnotic, and it will all be remastered, and it will all be, you know, official. You can find Metal Queen, and you can find Call of the Wild reissued. She had no say of those, which is why the booklets just open up and just have nothing inside but, you know, words, and I'm not talking lyrics, I'm talking about director, writer, all that bullshit. The shit you don't want. You want lyrics, you want liner notes, you want band photos, and that's all going to come on the Milieu remasters, hopefully for 2017. So, I'm always going to love female-fronted metal. If it's all female bands, like the mighty Phantom Blue, God rest Michelle Meldrum again now, or if it's, you know, Vixen, or if it's female-fronted and in your face, and just, you know, God, Sister Sin's already been out a year since they disbanded. You know, these bands that really care about metal. Like I said, you know, sure, I just read a list because I didn't want to have to remember all that, but still, you cannot forget about bands like Snow White with Nicole Lee, and you cannot forget about, like I said, Détente and Fear of God, and you cannot forget about the Sentinel Beast, you know, and all that great stuff that Metal Blade recognized back in the day. And Metal Mind is now remastered and put out a limited edition gold disc with digipacks and great booklets, no bonus tracks. Although the Snow White is both EPs and a live album, so at least you get your money's worth there. Other than that, you know, we're going to keep talking about thrash, like the Mighty Razor, you know, one of the best Canadian thrash bands. Just listened to some Exciter the other day, another one of the great ones, and of course we are going to be talking about Anvil. So, you know, as usual, what can I say up the iron? Stay metal!